Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's your boy here once again, Manny. Welcome to DFS Zone, your source for daily fantasy sport lineups and advice for the NFL, NBA, and MLB. Before I go on any further with the video, like always guys, I appreciate a like on the video. And if it's your first time here and never seen any one of my videos before, please subscribe down below and do not forget to turn on your notifications. This way you would not miss any of my new uploads. With that being said, today is Tuesday, April 24th, 2018. FanDuel's 3-game playoff slate today. We have Milwaukee at Boston, Miami at Philly, San Antonio at Golden State. Great games coming up tonight. Obviously the best 2 games on the slate tonight are Milwaukee and Boston being, to me, the game of the night, with maybe Miami and Philly being a good one at Philadelphia, even though I still feel Philly is going to pull out and win that game and end that series. Golden State, San Antonio is probably going to be the weakest game of the night. Golden State should run all over San Antonio and finish them off tonight. But then again, this is why we watch the games as fans, and this is why the games are played, because you just never know if San Antonio or anybody else is going to step up tonight and pull off a surprising upset here at Golden State. So I doubt it. I think Golden State is going to wrap it up there tonight. But the game of the night for me is definitely Milwaukee at Boston. Let me go over the Vegas odds right now. They got Boston with a 103 implied total, Milwaukee at 100, total of 204 between the two games, between the two teams. And then the Philadelphia Miami, we have Philadelphia, who actually has the highest total implied total for tonight's games. Philadelphia is at 112. They got Miami, which is 4th in this slate at 102. And then we got Golden State at 108, while San Antonio Spurs has the least amount of implied total for today for this particular slate. They have 96. So anyway, with that being said, as far as the odds are concerned, obviously when you look at the games, you want to target. I always try to just give you strategies or at least tips. These are some of the things that I go over in my head and decide. I mean, you know, some of it is going to be kind of common sense. A few of you are going to be like, hey, you know what, I get it. You should definitely target teams that are, you know, have higher scoring implied totals. In this case, Philadelphia and Miami obviously has the most between the 3 games at 214. Philadelphia with 112. So obviously you want to give some exposure to that game. Definitely the Boston, Milwaukee, and the Golden State, San Antonio games are both kind of even with the total implied totals of being a 204 apiece. But I would lean more towards targeting the Boston, Milwaukee game being a more competitive game as opposed to, you know, obvious Golden State at home. And they have them favored by 12 points. So, you know, you obviously do not want to focus on San Antonio, Golden State as far as targeting players. So my targeting of players today will be mostly consisting of the 2 previous games, the Miami-Philly and the Milwaukee-Boston. And me personally, I think the Miami-Philly is going to get quite a bit of exposure. I think maybe more so than Milwaukee-Boston. So I'm leaning towards maybe favoring getting players from the Milwaukee-Boston game. Don't get me wrong, guys. I'm not saying do not take anybody from the Golden State-San Antonio game. Obviously, there's a game that's going to be played there. There are some players there that will be of value, like San Antonio will have some players there that are going to be of some value going into today as far as being a good value play, which I'll touch on when I get to that game. But let's go over the Milwaukee-Boston game first. I do have my fantasy cruncher here like always, and basically I have here down the guys that I'm targeting. We had a total of 57 players playing within the 3 games tonight, and I basically have narrowed that down to just 42. But obviously already in my head, after looking at some of this stuff a little bit further over the last hour or so before recording, I definitely have my favorite plays in mind already in each one of these, and I'm just going to share with you a couple of those plays. Obviously, if we're targeting, let me go back to the FanDuel. We're targeting the point guards here in the Boston Milwaukee game. Obviously the 2 that stand out are the 2 starters, Terry Rozier and Eric Bledsoe. Surprisingly, Rozier is priced $300 more than Bledsoe. So if I had a choice here, I would go with Bledsoe, obviously for the savings, also because of the upside. Not to say that Rozier is not capable of putting up 45-50, because he can. He can have that kind of an explosive night. I don't believe it's going to happen in this particular game, but, you know, again, that's just my opinion. Eric Bledsoe definitely has the capabilities of putting up 45-50 or 50 plus easy. He has done it before. He's been able to take over games, especially when Giannis has been out. In this case, Giannis is playing. He's healthy. It's a totally different ballgame. This is one of the reasons why his numbers, as we go back over here to Fantasy Cruncher and we look at his games, he's had, subpar games. 31 in game 2. In game 1, he only had 14. So I mean, he's had a pitiful 4 games against Boston. And Boston is considered a respectable defensive team all the way around. And at the point guard, shooting guard position, they usually are in that, lower tier, as one of the top 10, let's put it this way, in the league over the course of this year. But he has had some troubles. He's getting his minutes, as you can see, 31, 27, 33, and 32. But, for whatever reason, in the last game, he only had 3 of 9, 1 of 2. He really wasn't so much involved in the offense as he has done in the previous 2 or 3 games. Here, more so, it was, I guess, simply he just didn't have a good assist total, and he didn't have a better shooting percentage with his shots in game 1 and 2. So that's one of the reasons why he didn't get up to his projected 45, 41, 40, and 37 respectively is what they had projected him for, and he has not hit value in all 4 of those games. But as we all know, 56 here, 50, 63, he's capable. He is more than capable, especially if his shot is going down. So if his shots are going down, he'll probably get a little bit more more touches on the ball. But other than that, when as long as Middleton and Giannis are performing and they're shooting well, he's going to feed those guys. He's just going to basically just roll with it. And but I say definitely, guys, Bledsoe is definitely in play at 7,500. You need what, 30, 37, 38. I mean, he can get there, and there's no doubt about it. I mean, he hasn't done it in this series, but at some point or another, it may happen. May be tough for tonight. I do like him. Is he my favorite play tonight? Not necessarily. I really like Goran Dragic as my favorite, but we'll get to that in a moment. Let's go over Terry Rozier. Rozier, 33, 25, and 44, and 35. He's actually has outperformed in the 4 games. Looking at these stats right here, he's actually has outperformed Bledsoe. So you got to give him a little bit of the upper hand. 36, 31, 37, and 40. Big minutes here in these 4 games. He's been busy. 3 of 12, not a great shooting night the last game out, and he basically pretty much hit value. He was at 33, he was projected 34. He got 33, he did it in 36 minutes, but his shots were not going down. 3 of 12 and 2 of 10 from 3-point range. But he had 8 assists, 5 rebounds. He had 1 steal, 1 block. He doesn't foul a whole lot, as you can see here. He's not a foul. He's not a guy that gets into foul trouble, and he's not a guy that turns over the ball, especially a lot, except for game 3, excuse me. He had 5 turnovers. But so yeah, Terry Rozier, man. I mean, looking at this closely, I can see why he is obviously valued $300 more, and $300 more. Just looking at this right now, first look here. You know what? Terry Rozier looks like he's the better play right now for tonight as far as how he has performed against Milwaukee. Milwaukee's 4th overall. They're actually a better defensive team defending against the point than Boston is. So I mean, something to consider there. Now we go back over here. So again, Terry Rozier, Eric Bledsoe, both in play, guys, in this particular game. If I'm going to choose any one of the 2, I still kind of like Bledsoe to have a big game because of the upside. I'm looking at it as far as a GPP play, saving $300 and utilizing that to get value somewhere else. Yeah, I will probably do that. But then again, remember, there's 2 more games with point guards as well. So we go over here to shooting guard in this particular game. Middleton, Jaylen Brown, Brogdon, and pretty much nobody else is really going to get any minimum. I mean, Mr. Marcus Smart right now is questionable for this game. If Marcus Smart is able to play, obviously that's going to open the doors for Bledsoe. All right, guys, because that means Middleton is going to have to battle against Mr. Smart in front of him. Mr. Smart it will be considered the best defender on the court for Boston if he's able to play and give 75-80%. I know he's probably not going to be 100%, but I think I saw that he has cleared to play. It's just a matter of how he feels. So knowing him and knowing the competitiveness of athletes, I don't see no reason why he will not be playing. So there's a good chance that Mr. Marcus Smart will play tonight. If he does, then that opens the door, at least in my eyes, for Bledsoe to have maybe even a better opportunity to get more touches in this game than Middleton. simply because Middleton is going to have to, have Mr. Smart in front of him. And Mr. Smart is going to have to defend somebody. But then again, we may see Jaylen Brown on Middleton, and then may see Smart on Bledsoe. So we'll see how the matchups are. So, I mean, it's going to be a matter of if he's going to start or not. I think if he starts, I think he's going to go over with Middleton, okay? And I still see Terry Rozier going with Bledsoe. That's what I see. And then I see Jaylen Brown defending someone else, maybe even trying to defend Giannis. So, or you can see Marcus Smart doing it. I don't think Marcus Smart, they're going to put him up to defend Giannis because it's just his wingspan is just too much. And Mr. Smart is a little smaller guy. Jaylen is a little bit bigger. So I can see Jaylen Brown being the one to defend Giannis if Mr. Smart plays and they put him on Middleton. If they put him on Middleton, then I say, hey, you know what? There's a good opportunity for Mr. Bledsoe. So I still like Bledsoe there, especially if Smart plays. But Jaylen Brown and Middleton, if I had a choice here, I love the way Jaylen Brown has been playing. I'm going to go here. We'll go to shooting guard. And let me just get these. Okay, Jaylen Brown. Here we go. 53 fantasy points in his last game. Played 41 minutes. Usage rate was nearly 30%. Took 24 shots. He basically has just taken the team and put it on his shoulders, on his back, and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to get us to the promised line. And that's what Jaylen Brown has done here. He has stepped it up and said, hey, you know what? I am the leader here now. We have no Kyrie. Somebody's going to have to step up, and it's going to be me. And then he has his sidekick, Mr. Tatum, which we'll discuss in a moment. But 53-17, a dud game here, a washout game in that loss 2 games ago, but 33 and 36 in game 1 and 2. So he's been 3 out of 4 games, has hit value. He's getting his shots, 24. He had the dud game like we've already discussed, 4 of 9, but he had 12 of 22 previous and 9 of 19 in game 1. He is taking the shots. He's making the things happen for Boston. I love Jaylen Brown in this game. I think he is my favorite play other than in this spot here, other than J.J. Redick, which we'll discuss when we get to the Philly game. But in this particular game against Boston, Milwaukee, I love Brown over Middleton. I think he's the best play. He will be in majority of my lineups. And I'm not going to say that I would not even stack these two in this game by having Middleton and Brown as both of my shooting guards, because you can utilize that as well, guys. Definitely can. So, I mean, so I love Jaylen Brown. Other than that, let's move on to small forward in the Boston-Milwaukee game. I would like to just go over the games. This is just a different strategy for me as far as discussing it here on the channel. At small forward, definitely Giannis is in play. We all know Giannis is the man. Jason Tatum has been playing fantastic. Let's go over to the cruncher. At small forward, we got Giannis here. He's going up against Boston. 18th rank. This is really a weak spot for the Boston Celtics. They really don't have anybody to match up with him unless, like I said before, they put Jaylen Brown on him or Mr. Smart. If Mr. Smart plays tonight, then it may be just a little bit more better defensively. With Mr. Smart on the floor, automatically Boston's defense just gets better, because that's what happens when you have a solid defender. Look at Mr. Roberson for OKC. Ever since he went down, OKC cannot defend the way they normally would when Mr. Roberson is in the game. So I mean, definitely a big defender. Definitely does that for certain teams. Everybody just really feeds off the guy. But Giannis here, 40, 44, 55, and 66. Obviously, his best games were game 1 and 2. The last 2 games, he's definitely been below value by quite a bit, about 13, 14 fantasy points lower. But he's still getting the bulk of the shots, 20, 13, 17, 21. Like I tell you before, if you got minutes, 40, 27, 43, and 44, and you get a usage rate where you're the man on the floor taking up those huge shots, and you're getting your shots, and as long as they're going down, you're going to put up large, big numbers, and you're going to put big fantasy point numbers for us guys that are playing them. So that's the hope here. Even though he's had 2 fairly subpar games against Boston in the last 2 games, I still like him here in this position. It's a playoff game. This is game 5, so now it's basically the best of 3. He knows that they got to put up 2 fantastic games against Boston, and it starts tonight at Boston. I like him here. I definitely do. I think out of all the studs tonight, obviously, to me, he's the best play tonight, and I'm willing to pay up for him. He has a large, steep number, 11,300, so you need about 55, 56 from him. It's a lot of points, but you know what? I think he'll come close to that, and we all know that his upside is through the roof. He can definitely have a 60, 65 point game easy. So we'll see how it pans out tonight, but I definitely feel that you definitely should have a little bit of Giannis in your lineups. Kevin Durant, well, let me just stick to the game at hand. Jason Tatum. I like Jason as well too. 34, 23, 30, and 44 in the 4 games. He has definitely had 2 in the middle where they were a little subpar. His last game was just barely overvalued, and then of course game 1 he definitely crushed value. Minutes have been good, 36, 27, 29, and 44. I guess if he gets in that 30 minute range, which I think he will get again tonight, because they need him. He's a young guy. They're going to need him to take the floor. They need to give the usage time. So he's going to get some shots. He's got 16 and 11 in the last 2 games. He's going to have to take somewhere around that same range, and he's going to have a better percentage of shots. He has to get more shots down. And as long as he gets those shots down, he'll be all right. He'll definitely meet this value. I mean, 6,700. You need 34, 35. He could definitely get there. I like Tatum there. I like obviously Giannis a lot better. I would pay for Giannis in a lineup for GPP today. It's just the way I feel. He's in a good situation simply because Boston is 18th overall against a small forward. They are the weakest out of all the ones here. Most vulnerable, let's put it that way, and I just I think that this is a spot for him to really step up, knowing that it's a best of 3 right now, and I think he's going to do that. I mean, he's definitely just a guy who wants to take over a game, and I think this is the game to do that. So at small forward, my favorite play definitely is Giannis here, but again, guys, you can't pass up the opportunity to take Jason Tatum in this game. He has been playing well enough also for Boston. In the power forward spot in this particular game, I still like you know what I mean, if John Henson, if he is out, the only one I like out of here, I really am not in favor of anybody here other than Jabari Parker, and that's only if Henson is out, for one, and then that opens the door for Parker as well as Mr. Thon Maker. Okay, so definitely keep an eye on that, on what happens with Mr. Henson. If Henson comes in, I still like Henson at 5,500, but he's coming back from back issues, and he might not be 100%. So I will not lean on him even if he plays. But if he plays, that will definitely minimize. It will minimize definitely Mr. Maker's time on the court. He will get very little minutes, and then Mr. Henson will start at center, and you'll still see Jabari Parker as the power forward. But it definitely enhances Jabari as well as Maker as getting more looks and getting more time on the floor if he is out. So definitely monitor that. Out of here right now, I do not like Marcus Morris. I definitely like Jabari Parker here. And let's look at here at the moment. 24, yeah, you see he played 30 and 24 minutes in the last 2 games. He put 40 fantasy points in the previous game and 31 before that. So definitely at 5,200. Right now with those numbers, that's a steal. I don't have to show any more than that. I mean, I will go over here and go to power forward and share Mr. Jabari, who's all the way down here. They're projecting him to put up 20, and he put up 34 and 40 in the last 2 games, 30 and 25 minutes. His usage rate was fantastic, 26% and 25, and he took nice shots, 5 of 10, 50%, 7 of 12, above 50% here. He got 2 of 3 from the arc and 1 of 4. Definitely has just been playing really well. 16, 17 points. He's gotten some blocks. He's gotten some steals in the last 2 games. He has just been going off. And at that price, 5,200, I mean, he's a lock for me, especially if Henson is still out. Okay, so definitely something to consider. Center in that same game, definitely I like the Boston Celtics centers, of course, but the value play is definitely Thon Maker, guys. Do not sleep on Thon Maker. We're going to go back to the cruncher here. Thon Maker, 25 and 38 in the 2 games he's gotten exposure and time on the floor, just because John Henson has been out. 31 and 24 minutes respectively, and he stepped it up, pretty much 50% or better in every one of his shots. He's getting some rebounds. I mean, he's been getting it done at this price. I mean, that's a steal. 16, 17 points you need from for 3,500 to meet value, and he's putting 25 and 38 respectively in the last 2 games. That's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. They're projecting him to have 13. If he's going to get that amount of minutes, I don't see the reason why he will not get more than 17. I think he's a definitely good value play. I think he is definitely good for 20 plus if he plays, and that's only if John Henson doesn't play. All right, so just remember that. Don't take my word for it. Don't go ahead and just lock him in there. Keep an eye on that. I definitely have a little bit of maker in my lineups for sure today, and more so if there is no John Henson. All right, so that's pretty much there. We go to Miami, Philadelphia, and we'll go right to the top. Point guard, man, everybody here, to be honest with you, don't like nobody other than Goran Dragic. I'm being totally honest with you. In this particular game, I'm not on Tyler Johnson. I'm not on any of these subs. None of these guys are going to get any run. Maybe McConnell may get if there's a big blowout or something like that. But nobody here is going to get any sufficient minutes for you to even think. Not even a value play here at 3,500 at minimum. None of these guys are good. And Tyler Johnson, 3,700 is a good price. But Tyler Johnson, let's go back over here. Just fix this, sorry. Go back here to Mr. Johnson. Let's just open this up. I don't even have him on my list because I don't intend to play him, but let's just take a peek at him. Look at this. 14, 12, 9, and 1. 13, 17, 14, 18 minutes. He's just not getting sufficient minutes for me to even think of him being even a value play. So I am the only person I am interested in, and he is definitely one person that I definitely like tonight. Out of all these games at point is Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic is going to have to do quite a bit for Miami. I don't know why this thing keeps popping up. For Miami today against Philly. Let's take a look at him a little closer. 32 and 40 in the last two games. 28 and 23 in the previous two games after that. So in game 1 and 2, he was, a little bit below value, close to value. And then, bam, 40 and 32, exceeded value in the two losses. 37 and 27 minutes respectively. We're going to go with the last two games and look at the shots in the 4 games. 14, 14, 13, and 19. He stepped it up. He had to shoot more. He got more shots to go down. And you know what? If he hits a little bit more of a higher percentage rate, he's going to do even better than this. So at 6,300, 30, 31, you need about 31, 32 from him. I think that's a no-brainer. They're projecting him with 28, 29 pretty much if you round it down. So it's about right. I think he could hit 30 plus in this game. And I really like him. I really do. I think he's definitely in play. All right, guys. So definitely consider Mr. Goran Dragic. Go right over to shooting guard. I really love the Philly shooting guards here. Bellinelli, J.J. Redick, definitely 57 and 5,600. Dwayne Wade is in play. I am not interested in Ellington at all, even though he does still get a sufficient amount of minutes on the floor. We go back here, shooting guard. And we're looking at JJ. JJ is going up. Miami's 22nd overall defending the shooting guard. And another thing to remember here is that Miami's also they are one of the highest teams allowing the defense big games. They have had 11 shooting guards this year have enormously big games, and that's the highest rating among all the NBA teams. So JJ Redick, hey, you never know, he may explode for a 40 spot here, where we know he is more than capable of doing that. Last game, 37-70, he almost had a 40 right there. 34 minutes, usage rate was fantastic, 24.5%. He took 18 shots. Look at the shots in the last 3 games, 9, 13, and 13. So he's very much involved. He did have a poor 3-point shooting night, 2 of 9 from the floor, 1 of 5 and 1 of 7 respectively over the previous 3 games. But if he nails that down at a higher percentage rate and he keeps on taking 16, 15 to 16, 17 shots, I don't see the reason why he's not someone that everybody should be looking at. And this is a game that is going to be close enough for a while that will keep JJ. And not only that, is that JJ feeds off of Saric, who's a good passer. Ben Simmons. You get these guys, and if he gets to those corners and he starts nailing down a couple of threes, all of a sudden they just start feeding this guy, and he just gets so fired up. He is one of those guys that if he's in rhythm and he gets hot, it's a totally different story. So J.J. Redick is one of my favorite plays here as well for today. Like I said, I like Jaylen Brown. J.J. Redick is my second favorite shooting guard of the night. But definitely would. I'm letting you guys know. I think he's definitely a good play. Definitely consider J.J. Redick. Marco Bellinelli has done well as well. Look at all these green here going back to prior to the playoffs. He did have 2 poor games out of the 4 against Miami. He had 39 here in game 1, 20, a little dud there in game 2, but came back with a 36 spot in game 3, and then of course the previous game, the last game against Miami, he put up 18. Getting decent shots except for the last game. As you can see, 3 of 7 and 1 of 4 from 3-point range. But look at the previous game, 7 of 13, 5 of 13, and 9 of 17, 4 of 7 from 3, 2 of 8, and 4 of 8. You know, he's getting assists, he's getting rebounds, he does a little bit of everything. He's got a couple steals. He's not a big, a guy that fouls a lot of people. He's going to be on the floor. The longest he's shooting well, he's going to be on the floor. I like him 5,700. I like JJ better, but Bellinelli is in play too, and especially that Miami has trouble with shooting guards. You know, I mean, this is a spot where they're vulnerable at. So definitely, if you're looking to stack up some players, you can even stack Redick and Bellinelli. They both are getting time on the floor, and they're getting about the same amount of time on the floor. So I don't see the reason why you can't go that route as well. Definitely am interested in those guys. Other than that, in the Miami squad, definitely Dwayne Wade, 37 and 43, and he has hit value in 2 out of the last 3 playoff games. 22 shots in 16 in those 2 games that he definitely shot well. And he, again, you take shots, and if you bury them, you're gonna have more shots coming your way. His usage rate was incredible, almost 40% in game 2, and 30 in game 3, and then 40 in game 4. I mean, he's gonna need to be out there, and if he get buried, like if he takes 15 to 20 shots tonight and he hits 10 of those shots or more, I mean, he's gonna put a 40 spot easy. For 5,500, that's a steal. So Dwayne Wade is definitely a great play tonight if his shots are going down. And as long as he's getting this amount of minutes on the floor, and while he's on the floor, he is taking a bulk of the shots. Look at the usage. This means that he's taking a lot of shots when he's on the floor, because this is not extremely a lot of minutes. 19, 25, 25, and 26 in those 4 previous games. He's going to have to stay in that range, maybe even go as much as 27 to 30 minutes. If he does that to keep this game close, and if Miami is still close in this game, I don't see no reason why he will not be on the floor taking more shots. Then he's going to smash 40 plus in this game today. So Dwayne Wade definitely at 5,500 is a good mid value play here. You know, I mean, he's not really low value, but at 5,500, that's a very good price for him. And they're projecting him to have 26, so definitely should consider Dwayne Wade. Let's move on. So moving on now, we're going to the small forwards in this game. Covington and Richardson. Man, to be totally honest with you guys, I am telling you right now, Josh Richardson has been having trouble, especially with this shoulder. I don't see Josh Richardson being a factor at all the rest of this series, especially if they lose tonight, they're done. I don't see him being 100% tonight, even if he plays. Covington has not performed as well as of late with Philadelphia, especially during the playoffs. I really love Justice Winslow here. Justice Winslow here is definitely a great play. And let's take a look at him, small forward. Winslow, 4,500. 4,500, guys, on FanDuel. He put up a 19 spot in last game in the loss. He played only 20 minutes. I think his minutes will go up today, especially if Jay Rich is out. 42, 7.6, a dud here in 20 minutes. And then a 28 spot in game 1. I don't, me personally, I don't see the reason why he will not get more than 20 minutes tonight, especially if Jay Rich is out. And even if Jay Rich is out, I still have a little bit of Winslow I really want to have in my lineups. I think that he is in position to, 4,500, I mean, it's really not a whole lot to pay for a guy that has the upside of putting up possibly a 40 spot for you. You know, it's definitely a great GPP play. Definitely my kind of a play. Maybe not for everybody. If you're looking for cash play here, at small forward, then you would definitely want to pay for Giannis or maybe for Durant, who are definitely going to get you 50 or better. Maybe even consider Rudy Gay. But if you want to play a straight up GPP play here, you lock in a Giannis and you throw in there a Winslow, and there goes your stack out of this slate today. And you got yourself two. You got a guy here who could give you 55, possibly 60 or better, and then you got a guy here that only needs to give you 20, 25, but could give you a ceiling of 40, 45. Why not? So that's what you got to do if you want to nail down the GPP. So I mean, Justice Winslow is definitely in play for me tonight. I definitely like him there. Power forward, same game, Miami, Philadelphia. We go over here. We got Mr. Simmons. We got Sarge. Man, Kelly. I don't know, man. He's 6,500 for Kelly, and I'm gonna go here. Kelly, Philadelphia's 19th ranked. He's in a good spot as far as the defense against him. But man, I didn't get to see much of the last game. I have no idea why this man just played only 9 minutes in the last game. He only took up one shot. I mean, did he get hurt or something and he came out of the game? I didn't see nothing about that. But I don't know. It's really weird. I don't know what to make of Kelly here. To be totally honest with you guys. Ben Simmons is definitely in play. Ben, 10,500 guys. I mean, why wouldn't you not have a little bit of Ben Simmons in your lineup? Miami is 19th defending against that position. And Mr. Simmons, 52 and 52, 50 and 49. He's pretty much put 49 plus in all 4 games. That's consistent. That's definitely good GPP with an upside. As we know, he's capable of putting up 60, 70. Okay? And he is steady enough here at 49 through 52. I mean, averaging 49 plus in the 4 games, that he's good for a cash play here. If you want to get somebody who can get you 50, he's going to get you 50. All right, so plain and simple, that's what the numbers look like right here. So he's definitely a good cash play here. He'll be in one of my cash lineups, and I'll definitely throw him in there if I could squeeze him in and get value. I'll put him in a couple of my GPPs as well. But Ben Simmons is in play. He's getting sufficient minutes, 39, 40, 39, 34. He's a workhorse. He's a young guy. Look at the shots, 13, 13, 17, 13. Look at what he's been doing with the rebounding, 9. 13, 12, 9, and 9 in the series. And look at the assists, 10, 7, 8, and 14. I mean, the guy does it all. And like I said yesterday in my video, between Ben Simmons and my man Donovan Mitchell, these guys are just exciting ball players. I'm so happy to see young ball players come into the league and just take over the league by storm, like the way these 2 young men have done this year. I still personally love Mr. Mitchell over Simmons. No disrespect to Ben. You're an awesome young ball player. God bless you. But Mr. Mitchell for me is just every time I see him and would see the things that he does for his size and for a kid to come into the league brand new. I mean, both of you guys are just are phenomenal. But I am definitely in favoring Mitchell more to be the Rookie of the Year. And you know what, Ben Simmons, I know he's going to go out there and he's going to just ball tonight. Definitely, guys, you can pencil in Mr. Ben Simmons. I really love him in this game. He's looking to close out this series right away here in Philly tonight. But again, out of this particular game here, he's definitely the best play. There's no doubt about it. I also like Dario Saric here. James Johnson from Miami could be a good play also. James is here. Philadelphia's 2nd overall defending, but he has had 3 solid games in a row. As you can see here, 35, 35, and 42 respectively in the 3 games previous in this series against Philly. He's getting the minutes, a large amount of minutes. 36, 32, 36 is one of the reasons why he's playing so well that they have Kelly, sitting a little bit more. 12, 9, and 7 shots respectively over here. 7 of 7 from the floor and 2 of 2 from 3. I mean, he was just perfect that day. He's been playing well. I really like him here. 6,100. I mean, you need 30, 31 from him. He can get it. I mean, he's showing it right here. 35, 35, 42. If he can get the same amount of minutes, I don't see no reason why he will not get those same results. Definitely a good cash play and definitely a good GPP play, Mr. James Johnson. There goes another guy there that I personally feel, because of the numbers, it shows that he is, that he could be a good play either way, as a cash and as a GPP. All right, let's move on. So those are the guys that I'm looking at there at center in this game, Philadelphia and Miami. I have no interest in Mr. Whiteside. He has not been able to do anything in the playoffs. He didn't do much towards the end of the season as well. I don't know what has happened to him. But Joel Embiid, if Joel does not turn over the ball, he's obviously a good play. Mr. Embiid, 9,500, so you need about 47, about 47, 48 from him. We know he has tremendous upside. He can definitely put up a 65, 70 spot on you guys easily. In this series, he's 39 in the last game. He was undervalued by 6 fantasy points. He was priced 9,600, so he's even cheaper, $100 cheaper now. 31 and 30 minutes respectively in the last 2 games. He only played 8 minutes in the previous game before that. He's still coming back, obviously. First couple of games from being injured. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I definitely like him. He will be in a lineup today. I don't see the reason why anybody should not have him in the lineup. I think he is the best center on the slate. So, definitely should have some exposure to Joel Embiid. He did not shoot particularly well in the last game as well as the game previous, but he did put up a 46 spot here, and that's because obviously he got a lot of fouls. He was on the the free throw line quite a bit in the last 2 games, 15 and 13 shots respectively. And of course, he's going to rebound. He didn't have a good rebounding game in that 46 spot. What hurt him in the last game obviously was the turnovers, and he is definitely a turnover prone. He gets a little too crazy. He wants to make great passes, and you know what? He is not the greatest in doing that. So as long as he does not turn over the ball, he keeps that ball under 3 turnovers tonight. Hey, he will give you that value. I think he'll definitely hit the 45-50 with no problem. He's definitely in the best spot out of all the centers today. So I would say if you could pay up for him, you can. You should definitely do it. Other than him, the only one that I like other than him, and he's in the same game, is obviously is Al Horford. But then again, Al Horford may move to the 4, and you may see Mr. Baines play quite a bit at center, and he's a good value play other than Mr. Maker. All right, so Horford definitely is the next guy here in line. He did have a 33 in the previous game, 6 undervalue, and then he had a dub game, 19 and 34. So he's not actually had 3 good games in a row against Milwaukee, and that's all due to the fact that Giannis has definitely have defended him a little bit, and Mr. Thon Maker is not a bad defender as a center, and he's done really well with him as well in the last 2 games. So Horford is going to have to take a lot more shots from the floor and try not to be too much under the boards. We know that he's a rebounder, but he's not a big rebounder. He's more of a guy that definitely likes to take the 15, 20-foot shot. He likes taking threes, and he's very good at it. That's where he needs to be at. So Al Horford is definitely in play tonight with the weak Milwaukee Bucks defense at center. But for whatever reason, I mean, he has not been dominant there at all against Milwaukee, and that's all due to just Milwaukee right now getting Mr. Jabari Parker. Looking at matchups on NBA.com, I noticed that Mr. Parker as well as Mr. Maker have been making it a little more difficult for Al. But Al is definitely in play, guys. At 8,000, you need 40. He can get you there. He can definitely get you the 40. And they're projecting him to have 40 tonight. We'll see what happens. He has a nice ceiling, about a 58. I'm not interested in anybody else here in that particular game. Obviously, in that game is, at center is either going to be, Embiid, and that's basically it. Embiid. I don't know. I even crossed up here. Definitely not in Whiteside. I don't know how I brought Horford. I should have already went over him. I apologize for that. Let's go over to Golden State and San Antonio. Golden State, San Antonio, man, over here at point guard, obviously no Steph, DeJounte Murray, Patty Mills, Sean Livingston, and Quinn Cook. Okay, all 4 of those guys are in play. Let's go to the cruncher here, and you can see they're down here on my list. I like some of these guys as value plays. I'm not on Quinn Cook because for whatever reason he is not playing a whole lot. 15 minutes in the previous game, 21 and 18. He's not actually been getting good numbers. He's not taking a whole lot of shots, and when he is, he's definitely been off. Livingston is definitely have shown to be doing better, 22 and 23. So I definitely am interested in a little bit of Sean Livingston if I want to get value there at 4,000. So definitely Sean Livingston is in play. Patty Mills is another guy I like at cheap, 4,600. He's getting the minutes, and that's what you really want to look for, is guys that are getting floor time. He's getting 36, 33, and 32 over the last 3 games. He has had 2 out of the 3 games he has hit value. He's definitely taking a sufficient amount of shots, 3 of 8 and 3 of 7 from 3. Not high percentage, unfortunately, but he definitely has been able to get those shots off. Took 6 of 13 in the previous game and 2 of 7. So he's taking threes. He's shooting regular two-point shots. He's very much involved, and as you can see, he's definitely putting up some steals. He's getting some blocks. He's been close a little bit with the fouls, but nothing significant, and he's not been too crazy with the turnovers. So I really like Patty Mills here. This is an elimination game for San Antonio. I mean, they don't win tonight, they're done. I see where he's definitely gonna have to step up. So I definitely like Patty Mills here and Shaun Livingston as value plays in this particular game. DeJounte Murray, not so much so on DeJounte. I'd rather go with Livingston or Patty Mills. He had a 24 spot in the last game, played 26 minutes, but the previous two games, only played 16 and 12 minutes. And I think that's pretty much going to be more or less where he's at again today. He'll probably get 20 minutes again, but if Patty Mills is playing well and he's shooting the rock really well, I don't see DeJounte Murray getting a lot of time here. So me personally, I'm not on DeJounte Murray in this particular game. Like I said, the exposure that I'm giving this game will be for value, and I'm looking at Livingston or Patty Mills here at the point in this particular game, and they're probably the best two value plays in this entire slate. So it's something that you guys should definitely consider. Patty Mills or Shaun Livingston at those prices, I think they're good value plays if you wanted to get some higher end players in the other positions. As shooting guard in this particular game, Klay Thompson, Manu Ginobili, Danny Green. Those first three guys I just mentioned right there are the only three on my fantasy cruncher. They're the only three that I'm considering in any of my lineups. Danny Green and Ginobili, they're in the bottom tier here, 4,500 for Manu. And Manu Ginobili, I mean, man, I think he really is a good play today at value, 4,500 for him. He put up a 26 spot in the last game and a 22 2 games prior to that. He's getting sufficient minutes, and this may be his last game ever playing in the NBA because I really truly believe he's going to retire. And the same goes for Tony Parker. But I think Manu Ginobili here is a very, very good play if you can get him. If you need someone for value, this is a guy that you can definitely play because San Antonio is, if they're going down, they're gonna let this guy play a little bit, and they're gonna give him an opportunity to try to be someone that that goes down with the ship, so to speak. So I see Mr. Ginobili getting sufficient time tonight, especially if this game is fairly close for at least 3/4. I can see him getting his 25 minutes to even as much as 30 in this game, knowing that it may be his last game, especially if it's close. If it's a blowout, which I still project it will be, I don't see him playing all the way to 25-30 minutes if this game gets really out of hand within the first half. I could see him sitting a little bit more and just not even getting much involved. But if the game is close for about 3/4, I could see him seeing 25 minutes, maybe say 25 plus, and he could be a definitely good value at that point. Danny Green is also another one that will be a good play there. He has not played well at all. He hasn't played well in like 8 games, going back to the last 4 games of the season. And his minutes are like up and down a little bit, 21-20, 24-21. He's just not not too much involved in the offense. I think he's pretty much on the court because they don't got nobody else that can go out there. Manu cannot play Manu cannot play a large amount of minutes anymore. So I just don't know what's really to say about Danny Green. I'm not on him. If I'm going to get a value play out of San Antonio today, I love Patty Mills and I love Mr. Ginobili here. And I think that's basically it with San Antonio, to be honest with you. Shooting guard, small forward. As a matter of fact, I skipped guy. Klay Thompson, obviously for Golden State, is in play. Klay hasn't been that great in the last 2 games, 37-34 in game 1 and 2, but 24-19 in the last 2 games. He's playing massive amount of minutes, but he's not getting a shot. Look at this, the last game, 4 of 16 from the floor. I mean, 2 of 6 from 3. This is not Klay. But the beauty about Klay is that you don't know what kind of Klay you're gonna get. He had looked bad these last 2 games. Today he could come back and light it up for 40, 50. So I mean, that's the whole thing with Klay. He'll put up a 35, 40, or 45 spot today if he's on. I just feel this game is going to be done and over with. I don't have, like I said before, I don't have a ton of exposure to this game simply because of that. I think Golden State is going to blow these guys out probably within the first half. So I have very little interest in playing players here. I'm only looking for value. I'm not on Klay for that reason, simply because I can get 6,500 value in one of the other 2 games that I mentioned. So I'd rather go to those games as opposed to getting value at 6,500 or 7,000 as far as a play over here in this particular game. So me personally, I am not on Klay, but I'm not saying that Klay is not a good play here. He is a good play at 6,500. You need 32, 33, and he has an upside to get you 40, 45. And for a GPP play, he's definitely a GPP player, for that GPP player, okay? So small forward. Let's go to small forward. We got Kevin Durant, Rudy Gay. Those are the top two, and then of course Iguodala. I'm not on Kyle Anderson at all. I don't like Kyle Anderson. Period. Nothing against him. I just don't like his style of play. I have no interest in him in any of my lineups. I do like Iguodala at 4,700. Rudy Gay. I love Rudy Gay. I've always said to myself, and I've told guys before, I don't know why Popovich didn't play this guy more, but obviously I guess he saved him for the playoffs because Mr. Gay has been playing a lot more, of course, now 37, 31, 36 minutes in the last 3 games, 30 spot, 24 and 32. He's been, close to Valley, had that one dud here. He's getting sufficient shots. He's just not hitting consistently. 4 of 11 here, 6 of 12, 7 of 15 in the last game is not too bad, but he didn't hit any threes. And, they just need more. They need a little more production from him. I mean, 37 minutes is a lot of minutes, and he's going to have to put up 37 again today. He's going to have to be on the floor that long, maybe even more, to give these guys a chance. So we'll see what happens. But he's a good play for 67. I don't know if he's going to, 30. You need 30, about 35, 36. I mean, he can get you there. He can get it. It's just a matter of his shots are going to go down. So I don't know. I personally... not on Gay tonight, but I think he's okay play. He's an okay play. I don't think he's a good play for tonight for GPP. Let's put it that way, all right, guys? Kevin Durant, definitely. GPP, he's going to be close to his value, even though 3 out of the 4 games he's not hit value, okay? At 10,009, you need about 50, almost 55. So you figure 54 points. He got 52 in the last game. We know that he can get it. And we know that he has tremendous upside. I mean, look at these shots. 41 minutes, 34, and 38 minutes in the last 3 games. Look at the shots. 28, 17, 19, 17. Look at the threes. 4 of 13. He was off there. Imagine if he would have hit at least 5 or 6 of those threes. He would have had almost like 65 spot. Almost a 70 spot. And if he would have hit a few more here. So he's taking the shots. I mean, he's going to go out to try to end this tonight. So Kevin Durant is definitely in play. I think he's going to hit 55 or better tonight. And especially... if they can keep the game fairly close, San Antonio, then he'll play 3 quarters, and he'll probably get that 55 even in 3 quarters. So I definitely like Kevin Durant tonight. He is definitely a solid play. Even for a cash play, he's good. Giannis and him are good cash plays for tonight. They should be at their value, okay, or better. And the beauty of it is you can put them on the GPP, and you got yourself a chance that they may just explode for 10 or 15 or 20 more fantasy points, and that's what you look for. So definitely good plays tonight. Definitely consider those guys. Power forward, same game. We got here power forward. Yes, power forward. Sorry, power forward. We got Aldridge, Draymond Green, David West, Kevin Looney. Those are the 4 guys that are getting exposure throughout the playoffs right now for those respective teams. I am in favor of Draymond Green. LaMarcus Aldridge is nice. Is a good play. He hasn't really performed that well, and he's had trouble, in this series because he's had Thon Maker. He has had JaVale McGee, Looney on him, defending him, and even Durant at times, and they're making it very, very difficult for him. He has not been shooting that well because of this defense, and so he's going to have a tough go again tonight, and he's been the man for San Antonio all year long without no Kawhi Leonard. This man has done it all, but he's going to find himself in a really, really tough spot. I'm not on Aldridge tonight, but again, I can say don't play Aldridge tonight. I don't think he's a good play, and he'll go out and light it up for 50, 60. So this is, again, you just never know. It's all entirely to you. I'm just giving you my opinion. I think that he's in a good position. As you can see, Golden State is 21st overall in the league this year, defending against power forwards, the 4th spot, and for whatever reason, they found the right combination of players with JaVale McGee and Kevin Looney coming in and defending him because they're long guys that make it a little more difficult for Aldridge to really set himself and be the LaMarcus Aldridge that we all know, and so his shots have been a little bit more difficult, and he's taking shots 19, 10, 21. It's not like he is not getting them. He is. It's just that shots have been a little bit more difficult, and he's just not hitting them at a good consistency. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. But at 9,300, obviously, that is not a bad price for him for what he's capable of. But is he going to be able to get there? In my opinion, I don't think he is. I think this all ends for San Antonio tonight, and I think if they're going to stay close, then definitely LaMarcus is going to have to find a way to keep the game close and to be able to get his shots and to score. But I just don't see it. So for me, he's not for me in play for me tonight. But I wouldn't say that he's not someone that you should consider. You know. Then Draymond Green. Out of the two, I would prefer Green over Aldridge, no question about it. Draymond Green, even though San Antonio's 4th overall against that defense, but Draymond has had a fairly good series. He's been 43, 42 plus over 3 out of the 4 games in this series. 42, 38, 35, and 33 minutes, massive minutes. His usage rate is not that high over his last 3 games. 4 14, 4 of 9, 2 of 9. He's not been explosive with his shots. And his shots have been actually pretty pitiful. What he's been good at is that he's getting his rebounding and assist in play, you know, and he's actually been getting blocks. As you can see, 2 games ago he had 4 blocks and 2 steals. 5 turnovers definitely don't help you. But if he had those 5 turnovers, this would be 47. So I mean, you know, at 82, I love the price. 8,200 for Draymond. You know, he went up $600 from the previous game. A total of 900 from the previous 3 games. But I still think he could pay that up. I think he can get that. I really think he can put up 40 plus again for you guys tonight. And he will be in some of my lineups because I definitely feel that out of the Golden State San Antonio game, just to let you know, I prefer Draymond Green. And I already told you, my only other play in this particular game that I'm considering is Mr. Patty Mills or Mr. Manu Ginobili. And other than that, I like Draymond Green, and that's it. I'm not even on Durant, but I mean Durant, if I can get him in there in the lineup, I'll do that. I mean, I plan to do a lot of GPPs, so I'll probably squeeze in Durant somehow in some sort of combination. We'll figure that out. But me giving that advice to you guys, no, I think Draymond Green out of the Golden State lineup, I think Draymond Green is the best play tonight, and I think the best play for San Antonio, if you're definitely going to target this game, will be Patty Mills or Manu Ginobili as a value play. That's basically it. At center, I'm not on anybody on here, period. I'm going to be honest with you. Do not take anybody here. I don't think anybody here other than, you know, McGee can surprise you or Gasol, but, you know, I think that I think you should pay up for center today in this 3-game slate. You know, get Mr. Embiid or get Horford or even Mr. Baines for Boston or something like that, or even Thon Maker as a real big value play. I think those are guys. Or I even take Whiteside over these guys, who's very cheap as well. But I'm not on Whiteside. But again, this is just my opinion. At center, I'd rather pay up today. All right, guys. All right, so let me just go over a couple. You know, I know I've been a little long here, man. I can just go on forever. But I mean, a couple, like yesterday, I gave you guys a couple of stacks. There's a couple of guys a couple of stacks here that are really, really nice to see. Middleton and Giannis together definitely have performed well. They average about 87 fantasy points between the two of them when they're on the floor throughout the course of the season. So they're definitely the top one out of the stacks today. Mr. Embiid with Ben Simmons, they're second out of the games out of the slates tonight, 86 fantasy points when they're on the floor throughout the course of the season averaging. And the next stack is also from the Milwaukee team. We have Giannis with Bledsoe. They average about 86 as well. Then the next stack that you should consider is Mr. Green with Mr. Durant. Durant and Green together as a stack. I've been averaging about 83 fantasy points throughout the course of the year. And then I have one more stack for you. Parker and Mr. Giannis. 74 fantasy points. And, you know, those are the best 4 or 5 stacks right there. If you want to go with a triple stack, I would say the triple stack of the night. I only like one triple stack out of this whole 3-game slate, and it comes out of the Milwaukee-Boston game, and it's the Milwaukee team. If I'm going to stack anybody, and there'll probably be a few of my lineups, will I have these 3 guys, will be Bledsoe, Middleton, and Giannis together as a stack. Especially if Mr. Henson is out, I can see myself putting in Thon Maker or Mr. Parker. If I can get them in there, Giannis, Middleton, and Bledsoe. All right, so something to consider there, guys. All right, I don't see any other triple stack at all today, as opposed to yesterday. I had at least about 3 of them in those games. But today, I think the best stack of the day is obviously the Milwaukee team. You can actually literally get 5 guys off that team if you can, and you should be all right. I haven't looked at it quite yet. I'm going to try to play with it and see. But you have, if you can get Bledsoe, Giannis, and Middleton in there, great. If you can get in there somehow Parker or Thon Maker, possibly all 5, you know, you can't get all 5 because you only can play 4. But yeah, you get those 4. Excuse me. What I meant to say is, if you can get 4 out of those 5 guys in your lineup, you're pretty good. You know, you're in pretty good shape. So I mean, and then the best game to stack from will be the Milwaukee-Boston game. You know, just stacking up a couple of the guys I just mentioned, maybe get in there somehow Jaylen Brown, Mr. Smart, you know, if he does play for defensive purposes, and he has capabilities of putting up, you know, 20, 25. If you get, you know, or stacking up with Miami and Philly, you know, Miami and Philly is a good game to stack. I'm not looking to stack up one particular game. It would not be San Antonio and Golden State. From San Antonio and Golden State, in my opinion, the best bet is to stack within the other 2 games. And if you need to get a good value play, think about those 3 guys I mentioned. The 2 value plays that I mentioned from San Antonio, which would be, of course, Mr. Ginobili and Mr. Mills, Patty Mills. And then if you want a nice little stud power forward that's fairly good, it's going to be pretty, you know, it's a higher tier from that particular game. It will be from Golden State, will be Draymond Green. I'm not on Aldridge. I'm not on anybody else. I may consider Durant in some lineups, but I would, you know, I think that you can do fine with just getting most of your players from the other 2 previous games and getting value out of the San Antonio team, who's going to be battling for their lives. And guys like Ginobili, who's going to be ending up his career possibly tonight. You know, if the game is close, you know they're going to try to give him time on the floor. He's going to want to go all out. So that's the way I'm thinking. All right, guys. So I mean, basically, hey guys, that's pretty much it. So you know, just again, some of the, you know, let me just go over the guys again over here. Again, when we go to point guard, if you look at everybody, like I said before, I definitely like Bledsoe and Rozier here. My favorite play will probably be Bledsoe, especially, like I said, if Mr. Henson is out. And right now, I think I got a notification on my phone a little while ago. I think that's what I saw, that Mr. Henson is out. So Bledsoe will definitely be a great play, and especially if Marcus Smart is playing. If Marcus Smart is playing, then that means Marcus Smart is going to probably defend Mr. Middleton, and that's going to definitely open up the doors for Bledsoe over Mr. Rozier. So, but Rozier is definitely in play, guys. Definitely consider him and Dragic are the top 3. And then if you want a value play, I definitely like Livingston, which I forgot to mention again. Livingston as a value play at 4,000 is good because he is getting the time and he's putting up sufficient numbers. And Patty Mills for sure is my favorite point guard value play today. Shooting guard, Middleton and Brown are in play, and Klay Thompson. I really love the Philadelphia 76ers here with Redick and Bellinelli. Definitely a good price for these guys. And then if you wanted to go any cheaper than that, I would say Ginobili, or consider Mr. Wade, who's going to try to, you know, go out with gunslinging today against Philadelphia. You know he's going to try to keep that Miami team in it. Okay, so Dwayne Wade is definitely a decent play. So you got 3 or 4 guys there that I'm considering for myself, and that I think you guys should consider as well. And small forward, Giannis is definitely in play. I love him a lot more than Durant. Rudy Gay is in play. Jason Tatum is definitely in play. And other than that, I like Iguodala, and the best play of the day here at small forward is Mr. Winslow. Don't forget Mr. Winslow. Okay, he is definitely in play at 4,500. He'll be in some of my lineups. Power forward, again, Simmons, Aldridge, all in play. Draymond Green, my favorite out of the 3 is Green. And then if you want to go any lower, definitely you can consider Mr. Sarge. Mr. James Johnson is all good. I don't think anybody lower than Mr. Jabari Parker here at power forward, even though Kevin Looney has been getting some time, so definitely consider Kevin Looney as well. But my favorite lower tier guy here is Jabari Parker. And now that I know that Mr. Henson is out, he's definitely in play. He's definitely going to get some minutes, and that also opens the door for at center, Mr. Thon Maker. All right, Thon Maker is at the lowest you can the lowest value you can get, 3,500. He is peanuts, and he's going to get more than likely the same amount of time he's gotten in the last 2 games. So definitely consider him as well. All right, top guys, definitely Mr. Embiid is definitely on my favorite of my list, on top of my list today at center. And other than him, You can definitely consider Horford, Baines, and like I said, Thon Maker. Everybody else, I'm not interested. I'm not interested in McGee, Mr. Monroe, or Mr. Zeller, or Mr. Pau Gasol, or Holmes. I think those are the 4 or 5 you should consider. That's basically it, guys, man. So, again, man, like, subscribe down below if you haven't done so already. I would appreciate it. Share the video with other people that you may know. I appreciate that as well. And, good luck tonight, man. I mean, I gave you some guys there. I gave you some possible plays. I gave you some teams, some games you should target. Definitely think you should target the Milwaukee-Boston game and the Miami-Philadelphia game, and then just get your value, if you can, from those few guys I mentioned in the Golden State-San Antonio game. But again, that's my opinion. It's entirely up to you. That's basically it, guys, man. God bless. Good luck tonight. It's time for me to go and set up my lineups. I want to see if I can nail down this 100K. Really would love to do that and be able to share that with you guys. But we'll see what happens, man. All right, everybody, good luck. See you guys tomorrow. God bless. Have a good day.